Alright, Leo, so I'm going to break down some things for you, some things that I noticed from watching your block starts at camp. Initially, in this down position, I noticed that you seem to be a little bit set back, which means that your arms seem to be going in this direction, which basically says that your shoulders are not over top of your hands like they need to be. The interesting thing is when you come up to your set position, you adjust yourself to fix that. You can see yourself, your back, and then you kind of rock forward and adjust it, which is fine that you fixed that. I mean, you did end up, fixing it for yourself, but generally speaking, you want your hips to just, when you rise, you want them to come straight up. And you don't want to see really any type of wobbling as you bring your hips up. Sometimes that causes you to be unbalanced and kind of stumble out of the blocks, and you definitely don't want that. You want a firm raising of the hips and then locked and loaded and ready to go. So let's go back down into your start position. Some good things are, you do have your hands in the form of a bridge. We do see that this shin is parallel to the ground. That's an important thing as well. And then we go up into our set position. And now I want you to look at your reaction time. You don't have the best reaction time, but that's fine. You can work on that. You can work on that by doing push-up starts, rollover starts, anything to just get used to hearing that sound and reacting to it. And that can be learned, relatively easily. So, I mean, you see Rodney, you see Rodney back here. We're waiting for the clap. We see that clap, and, Jonah, who's right next to you, he's got 2 steps, about a step and a half, almost 2, before you put your first foot down. And that has nothing to do with technique and everything to do with your reaction time. So if you can work on that, that's going to do you a whole lot of good. So let's look at your initial drive out of the blocks. So for me, what I would like to see is more arm action. In this particular position, where is your right arm? I should see it poking out back there, and I don't see it because we want to see a big split of the arm. So you can just tell by looking at this that you're very tense, through this area. So you need to relax a little bit. You're a taller guy. You don't have to try and stay low. You're going to look a little different coming out of the blocks because you're taller. You've got longer legs, everything. So definitely learn how to relax a little bit there and allow for that arm to swing back here and this one to swing up here. And the more you open up like that, you'll get, greater ranges of motion, and you'll be able to use the long legs that you have. So you can see that there, we drive, we don't even really see that right arm, and then already we're trying to swing through to the next step. Okay, so one thing I did like about your stride pattern was your striking pattern at first. When you first started out, you drove, and typically when you're striking into the ground, you want to see this shin and this shin be parallel to each other. In other words, you never want to see this shin here and this angle here, because that starts to create braking patterns and you start to stand up. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit to where we get these guys out of the way. I'm going to move over a little. So let's watch here. We have contact. I want you to look at before, hold on, right there. Okay, so maybe back one more. Alright, so I want you to watch where your heel is, okay? And you can see how high it comes up and where it's at before it swings through. Okay, so watch that here. Good. Now we're going to rewind again and a little bit more. And I want you to watch, just for example, I want you to watch Jonah's heel, okay, and where it's at when it swings through. See when he pulls his leg through, look how high his heel is. gets so far up there, and then he pulls it through. And actually, when it comes through, it's coming through right above his knee, okay, which causes a great knee drive, okay. Now let's fast forward. I want you to watch where yours is coming through, okay. So we're here, and when you pull your foot through, your heel comes through below your knee, okay. And you having long legs, I think you're going to get a lot more out of your stride if you allow yourself to open up a little bit more. Now you're probably asking yourself, how do I get my heel that high when it pulls through for my swing leg? You need to start using your arms more. You're keeping them very small. You're a tall kid. You can get a lot out of it if you have bigger ranges of motion. So I think overall just bigger ranges of motion are going to help you quite a bit. Other than that, I don't think I would really change anything. I think the biggest thing for you is relaxing, using the limbs that you have to be aggressive. You have a pretty decent striking pattern. I think somewhere right in here you started to overstride. I don't know if that's because you felt these other two guys just, were pulling away so quickly and that changed the way you were striding, but you started off fine and then you kind of transitioned into overstriding here. So let's watch the whole thing in slow motion.